Good morning. It is 10:02 on Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. Call this meeting of the Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. If everyone would please stand, Commissioner Fincannon will give our invocation.
Pray with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for everything you do for us, Lord. Thanks for all the blessings you provide to us, Lord, and thanks for giving us the solid foot to stand on and always have you with us, Lord. In this special time of the year, Lord, when we celebrate you coming to be willing to give your life to lay down for all of us, Lord, I just want to say thank you for that. This upcoming Easter, Lord, I just be overly thankful for that, Lord. Please be with us, Lord, today as we make the right decisions for the county. Give us the wisdom and strength to do what's right and always do what's right in your eyes, Lord. All this through your Son, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Join us for the pledge to the U.S. flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, please be seated. Unless your name is Katrina. Come on forward. Oh, I thought the power was going out.
Disco Sheriff.
Katrina Mitchell is our 4-H agent over at the Ag Extension Office, and they are doing an extremely cool event, first time, right?
Yes.
Tomorrow, called Keys to the County or Keys to the Courthouse?
The courthouse.
Keys to the Courthouse. I'll let her talk about that in a little bit in just a second. But we're doing a proclamation for County Government Month and really want to highlight what y'all are doing with that program tomorrow and as part of that. So I'll read the proclamation and I'll turn it over to you to talk a little bit about that. Whereas the nation's 3,069 counties serving more than 330 million Americans provide essential services to create healthy, safe, and vibrant communities. And whereas counties fulfill a vast range of responsibilities and deliver services that touch nearly every aspect of our residents' lives. And whereas counties as intergovernmental partners enact local, state, and federal programs to address the needs of all residents. And whereas Wichita County and all counties take pride in our responsibility to protect and enhance the health, well-being, and safety of our residents in efficient, cost-effective ways. And whereas each year since 1991, the National Association of Counties has encouraged counties across the country to elevate awareness of county responsibilities, programs, and services. And whereas Wichita County proudly presents Keys to the Courthouse, an educational event giving school-aged children a behind-the-scenes tour of the courthouse, where students will meet public and elected officials, learn about local government, and discover the many services we provide, inspiring greater civic awareness and community engagement. Now therefore, be it resolved that Wichita County Commissioners Court does hereby proclaim April 2025 as National County Government Month and encourage all county officials, employees, schools, and residents to participate in county government celebration activities, so proclaimed this 15th day of April 2025. Tell us about Keys to the Courthouse.
Keys to the Courthouse is a great curriculum offered by Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. And so what it does, it brings students, our youth, into the courthouse, get to meet officials, get to learn about the different departments. As we all know, most of the public, and sometimes myself, doesn't understand what the county versus the city versus our local ISDs do. And so this gives our youth the opportunity to learn about the intricacies of working government. So the judge and Commissioner Beecham have been working with me on bringing in this program. So tomorrow we'll be in the courthouse. We'll have a morning session for our elementary age kids and chaperones. And then in the afternoon we'll do a little more detailed, longer process program for our middle school, the high school age group. So we're very excited to bring them in and start teaching them about how their county government works. So.
Yeah, I don't think I came into the courthouse until I was called for jury duty for the first time. So it's good to get the kids in. Did you want to say anything?
No, just appreciate all the effort that Katrina's put toward making this happen. I'm really excited for tomorrow.
You know, one of the things I'm excited about is Robin Fincannon is going to help teach us about how to vote. And so that's a very scary process when you're doing it when you turn 18, and it's an important process that we have to do when we adult. So that's going to be very exciting for them to learn how to do as they get to that age and have that responsibility.
That's good, and I bet that older crew may have the opportunity to serve and work an election coming up.
Yes.
She will always pitch that to
Great
them as well.
volunteers, yes.
Did you want to say something? Oh, sorry, I heard that. All right, well then we'll take a picture, and I'll give that to you to be the recipient of the proclamation.
Judge, we continue to have a tremendous 4-H program.
Yes, we do.
It's very important and really makes a lot of difference in our community.
And I don't know that anybody works harder or drives more miles it's part of the county.
And Katrina's homegrown, so she's been through our program and part of our program now, so that makes all the difference.
Thank you. Yeah, right now we're doing patching in the classroom, so that's probably my biggest program in the schools, and so I have a bunch of baby chicks in the office.
Oh, wow.
Katrina loves the attention, so let's all make sure we clap for her. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, it is currently 10:08. We will open up this time for public comments. We remind folks the comments have to be limited to 5 minutes or less, and Commissioner's Court cannot take action on any item brought up during public comments. With that exciting introduction, do we have any public comments this morning? The introduction is so exciting, so are the answers. Yeah.
Well, we did get a reward this week.
Oh, we sure.
Oh, yeah.
We
We
got
did.
another Safety Achievement Award. It was a very nice conference. Thanks to Kenneth and his efforts. And I think I counted, and you guys might have to help me, out of 254 counties, only 14?
I think it was about 12 or 14.
Yeah.
That one that we got.
So, as we continue to
That's
practice
really good.
safety and keep those workers' claims down, it just saves county money.
Thank you.
Mhm.
It's good to be recognized. Top 5% in the state.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. Any other public comments this morning? Okay. It is 10:09 and public comment is closed. We move along to the consent agenda. There are 12 items on the consent agenda. I need to ask the court to approve one change. Consent agenda item number 9. Motion to approve Bretner truck sales estimate number 1936583 in the amount of $8,110.68 for a wet kit for a truck with the VIN number to be paid. That should be to be paid from Department 221 with lines determined by the county auditor. I double checked with Commissioner Beecham on that this morning before
I
court.
tried to get by with it, and you just didn't.
At one point, I think he said 223 wanted to pay.
Yeah.
Gotta watch them all.
Is there any objection to making that change on item 9?
None.
Okay. I also wanted to, and I know we normally don't do this, but just recognize item number 12, which is a motion to authorize the county judge to sign Harper Perkins change order number 1 for the 30th District Courtroom renovations project to recognize and accept contingency savings of $123,040. I just wanted to highlight that there's a contingency allowance of $175,000, and nearly 2/3 of that, or over 2/3 of that, is did not get spent and is returning. So just wanted to highlight that.
Great.
We don't
And
need to
that is-
highlight cost savings. a
And
lot.
that is an oddity in the county government.
Are there any questions, comments on any of the other items on the consent agenda?
On number 10, is that just the opener? 'Cause
That's the electric and the opener for the door, yeah.
Okay.
There's no electricity going back that way. Plus the, oh, well, it's the electrical in the opener, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments on the items on the consent agenda? Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Mahler, seconded by Commissioner Buchanan, to approve the consent agenda as amended. Are there any questions or comments on the motion or the items?
Judge, on, just to clarify for me on item 6. The lease payment, is that what form of lease payment is that? A monthly?
No,
an
that's
annual?
that's the initial, because it's considered a lease even when we're paying for, doing our upfront with Enterprise. It's folded into that initial payment. It's sort of
Okay,
not the down payment, it's nearly the full payment.
right, okay.
Any other questions? Okay, the motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. General business item number 1. Receive presentation from Heath Rosenstein, Senior Account Executive at Tyler Technologies for the jury pay disbursement software. Is it Rosenstein or Rosenstein?
Rubenstein.
Okay, Mr. Rosenstein, come forward and give us a presentation. And prepare for a lot of really tough, hard questions.
Yes, please. I did bring the court and all those in it.
Wow.
A few donuts here and there, so, no obligation. And Heath bars.
Oh, yeah.
And my name is.
And I hope you had some protein this morning to go along with that.
And these are gluten-free too, these little candy bars are gluten-free, so. All right, a lot of this is connecting. We do an extend here. Your district clerk, treasurer, auditor have been doing a little bit of research on speeding up jury pay, making it a little more efficient. There's been some, you got unclaimed funds that happen with jury. Checks are a little bit slow nowadays. So they've been doing a little research to see, how can we speed this up? And so what we're presenting today is that option that we have with Tyler disbursements. So this is what we're going to talk about today. You guys are going to pass it down. I do have HDMI.
We actually do this on purpose to try to rattle folks.
Little
who come in
rattle
and
us
present.
all.
Yeah.
I do know how to dance. I can tip tap a little bit or tip-toe, whatever you call it is.
Instruction card.
Well, we have quite a few counties in Texas that are using this process to pay their jurors. So what we're going to talk about is more or less checks. Because currently Wichita County is issuing checks for jury pay. So they come in, they serve, we learned it earlier, the first time you came in with jury duty, a little bit nervous, they're already that way. So waiting on payments on top of that can be some type of, sometimes a concern. And so what I'm going to show you here a little bit, we've got some issues, some payment issues when it comes to checks. Our staff, we get inundated sometimes on phone calls. Hey, where's my check? I served 2 weeks ago. I really need the $20. It's $20 to serve first day, it's $58 every day thereafter, and they sometimes need that money, especially coming holidays and then of course, mail sometimes gets lost. Right? We know that we used to rain, snow, sleet, shine, it would always get there. But now it's kind of 50, 60, 70% maybe. Sometimes not. So then we get those phone calls and then we get lost checks in the mail. And so lost checks really, they affect soft costs, our labor, because we're having to stop. Anybody here sit at the desk, right? We're doing our work and we get a phone call. We have to do what when we answer that phone? We have to stop what we're doing, take the phone call, answer it, and then get back on the train and start doing what we're doing. So that takes time. It takes time to do. So that's kind of the part of this as well, is streamlining that process. So it's got to be my computer. I promise you, this is most likely. So apologies, but
It's all right. If you want to start, and then as we try to fix it, we'll do that way.
So you've got your check costs. So does anybody have an idea of where our costs come in with checks? We've got check stock, right? We're going to pay on check stock. We've got envelopes that need to be mailed out. We've got postage that continues to rise. So last year, postage went up twice. In 1 year, we're at 73 cents, I believe it is, something like that. It's going to continue to go up. It's projected by 2027 to hit $1 for each stamp that we're gonna buy, we're gonna send out first class. So postage continues to go up. The other thing with a check, which Matt knows very well, Stephen knows very well, and everybody sitting here knows very well, is on the bottom of those checks, what do we have?
Account
We've got
number.
our account numbers, and we've got routing numbers, and we're just issuing that to the public, to our constituents, to our jurors. Not all of them are gonna try to do something fraudulent, but mitigating financial risks here, that's part of this solution as well, because we're not gonna have to issue those account numbers. And when somebody gets a hold of an account number, takes a picture, puts it on what they call nowadays social media, guess what? Your elected officials have to do, they have to close the account down, reopen a new one because it's been compromised. Then we're paying for extra stuff like positive pay, that keeps those accounts from being hacked. Our fraudulent actors nowadays are getting smarter. They're getting smarter and smarter. So holiday season, when the holidays come around, that's when you hear dumpster diving. Well, there's mailbox diving too. And they look for things that look like checks, and they're gonna grab those checks, and they're gonna whitewash them. They're gonna put chemicals on those checks, and they're gonna whitewash them, and they're gonna try to change it, and they're gonna try to infiltrate the bank account. So this solution here, what you're seeing, is a digital payment for jurors. So this is how it works, all right? I'm a juror, I come in. Leslie over here, she's got a great jury system that, by the way, is already incorporated into this. It's already built into the jury system because it's Tyler Jury System, Tyler Payments. Juror comes in, hands you the summons, Leslie checks you in, scan. She's gonna take this, and she's gonna scan it into the jury system and hand that juror their pamphlet. All right, so the juror now goes through, they have their form of payment, they go through the process, they may get selected for voir dire, they may or may not. They may get selected on a case, they may or may not. But when Leslie says, hey, it's time to pay these jurors, then she's going to go through that same process. This right here is just paper and plastic right now. There is no financial value to this at all, it's just paper and plastic. So when the juror goes through that process, Leslie says, hey, it's time to pay. Now it's gonna go to Matt's office and Stephen's office, and they're still gonna go through that audit process. And once they say, yes, everything lines up, the reports match, we're gonna upload the file to the payment system, and now your jurors, your constituents are now, guess what they're gonna get? They're gonna get a text message and or an email that says, hey, you've been paid by Wichita County, your $20 is available. Done. Once they get that text, they can do one of 7 things. They can take this debit card, and they can swipe it, and they can pay anywhere MasterCard is accepted. They can literally, if they have a bank account, they can take this to the bank, and they can say, hey, I've got $20 on here, I wanna put it in my bank account, no fee, no charge. If they don't have a relationship with a bank, they can do the same thing, no fee, no charge. Because guess what happens if you have a check and you don't have an account? Guess what we have to do? You have to pay that check cashing, which is what goes back to unclaimed funds. So 20, 25, 30+% of jurors that walk into your courtroom do not cash a check. Because A, it gets lost and they don't care. B, they don't want to pay the check cashing fee and they don't want to stay in line. So unclaimed funds, thank you, is a huge, huge process. So we went through some of these challenges that we face with checks. These are some of the costs just right in front of us here, what we talked about. Postage, we've got check fraud risk, we've got late payments we talked about, and then check cashing service is something that your constituents are going to, they continue to face. Talked about check fraud, so this isn't my data, this is data that we've got from many, many sources, but 65% organizations have faced check fraud in 2023. So if you're not issuing checks, guess what you're not gonna have? Check fraud. If you're not issuing checks, there is no check fraud. And the other outstanding thing is 2 times SARs, suspicious activity reports, filed by banks, almost doubled since 2022. That's when somebody comes in, they're a little bit suspicious, their activities, they're trying to float checks possibly. There's just a lot of activities, and so if we're not issuing checks, we are not part of that. We talked about our staff being burned out, return stacks of checks, because who keeps a valid mailing address nowadays? I do. But 20%, 30% of those jurors walking in, they don't. And so those checks get returned. When you hand them this payment, you don't have to worry about their address because their payment is right there. Upset residents, there is no more upset residents because they have their money. And I'm gonna show you the other options that they can actually use as well. So this digital solution does not box anybody in. I know we've been used to the check payment back in the days, antiquated methods. That was the way to go. Does anybody remember something called a pager? You remember the pager? Right, I had a pager. I mean, you get the pager, you stop, you go to the payphone, you put the thing in there, and then that was the greatest way to communicate. Nowadays, the only place you see a pager is where?
Drug cartel.
I didn't think about that, but yes, that and hospitals, absolutely. Those are your two.
Same thing.
Yes. So you don't really see those pagers that much. They're still using them, but with technology, now that you have secure apps, these pagers are starting to fade out. Same thing, now let's move over to checks. Checks are starting to do the same thing. It was a prevalent way to pay, but then with the debit card, that was a slow process. To be honest, not a lot of people caught on to that, but once that paradigm shift happened, it was all plastic. And now you have digital, now you have Venmo, now you have PayPal. So that age is moving in, and residents are no longer upset. We've got a lot of unbanked, we talked about unbanked customers, but this right here, this is a headache that Matt and Steven know very well, unfortunately, and this solution that you will hopefully approve for the county is going to help out with this headache of theirs. All right, so consider yourself a Tylenol team, right? You can give them headache medicine to replace this headache. So 1 in 7, it says 1 in 7 Americans have unclaimed property waiting to be collected. It's higher than jury duty for some reason. Because again, I conveyed and laid out the reasons why these jurors don't want to cash their checks. Over $5 billion in unclaimed property is returned to the states annually. This software helps Matt's office, helps Steven's office by maintaining the unclaimed funds. So if a juror, just for some reason they say they don't claim those funds, the software automatically returns those funds to the county. That's a statute. It's a statute of 90 days, those funds go back to the county. And so this software, the solution, handles that for you.
They have 90 days to spend the funds?
They have 90 days to either cash or
Cash.
claim, spend, yes, before it gets sent back. Correct, but if they access those funds, they have 365 days to spend all those funds. Full year. Court funds is the product. You can see here, it's just not jury payments. This solution can do other things within the county. It can pay election workers faster and quicker, which, believe it or not, this does kind of help with retention in election workers. It can help on restitution, bond reimbursements, but most importantly, if you have this system in place, if for some reason there is some type of natural disaster and you have to give money to your constituents, cutting a check and handing them a check, as opposed to handing them this and saying money is already loaded on here, go ahead and buy groceries, go ahead and buy gas, do what you need to do, looks really well. So this has that opportunity. Court funds, from municipalities, to counties, to states, to federal courts, all over the nation is using this solution to pay quicker and more efficient and really mitigating that payment fraud, which it says here. What can you do? Most importantly, we're slashing disbursement costs, which I heard earlier today. You guys are saving some money on the number 13 line, I think it was. Reducing the bank account reconciliation times. It streamlines and is integrated within our jury management system, which I mentioned to you earlier. Most importantly, you're mitigating that check fraud. Because if you're not issuing checks, you don't have check fraud. This is the flow. I'm going fairly quick, so ask me if you have any questions. This is normally like a 45-minute presentation, so I'm slamming it in for
We
everybody.
appreciate the efficient presentation.
So this is the flow that I mentioned to you earlier. So the juror comes in, they get checked in, they're handed that pamphlet, they're assigned the account number, scan. The court then approves the file, it gets uploaded to the payments, and then this is where they get to choose all of their options. So here, they've got other ways that they can claim their funds. They can do an instant transfer. They can do a ACH deposit, like a direct deposit. They can do a PayPal, Venmo, donation, they can still request a paper check. And we handle the paper check. That's part of the system. So we have that, and it's a little less than 1%, but they still every now and again will ask for a paper check. So we do allow that. So these are ways that they can access those funds. The nice other thing is if it's a grand jurors serve terms, and they'll come back multiple times. Say they pick this direct deposit or PayPal or any of these other ones. Once they pick it once, each time they get paid, they get that text message, and then they go to wherever they did it, and the money's right there. They don't have to wait or redo anything. So it's efficient. Really mitigates payment fraud.
So Heath, I'm lost there.
Yes.
I've got a debit card in my hand. What am I getting Venmo'd?
So all right, so this right here, this process, this process here, so when the money is uploaded, after everything is approved and uploaded, then this option is activated. Now this is an account, it's a digital account, which this is a ancillary card, just like our bank accounts, right? We have a debit card, a credit card, we have online banking, those are ancillary accounts, same thing here. So once they receive that debit card, the account is activated, but if they decide not to use the debit card, they can click the link and they can log in and they can select that additional method. So the $20 jury pay would be what they would
Okay.
declare. That's it. And I should have a smiling face here for your constituents that are so happy that you did this and they get paid a lot quicker. But what questions can I help the court answer?
What does it cost?
The cost, yes. That is a great question. So let me pull this up here.
Do it for free.
They are not.
They are not. They are not. So total first year. Was it just that one screen that showed? Or can I show it on this one? Get the guru.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a paper copy, but
Yeah, paper copy. It's, and Judge Johnson mentioned, he's like, anything over 14,000 is, it's in that ballpark. It's 125 over. 14,125 is your first year out the door. So this is your county pays on average around 5,000 payments, a little under, a little over. And so this is the cost. This includes the software that I mentioned to you. We do have a discount as well, a bulk discount because you have our jury system, so we put a little discount in there as well. And so the breakdown is this is the software cost, is up front. This is the disbursement cost. So this would be like you cutting a check, right? So your hard costs are anywhere from $1.25 to $1.50. That's what we talked about, your postage, envelope, check stock, those types of things that go into Mickery printer maintenance. So that's ultimately this cost right here. And then this is that software cost.
Now, my question would be to Leslie, what are our costs roughly right now per year?
I wouldn't have that number, that would come from the auditor's office.
Yeah, so, I mean, your check stock, your labor, all that, I mean, it's going, and then Stephen's labor, it's going to exceed that amount. Because we're doing 100 checks on occasion for one deal jury checks, and so it's gonna be greater than that. And with this, it's not going to be paid from taxpayer funds. This is going to be funded by those outstanding checks. So just going back from 2023 and prior, we have 3,000 checks that are outstanding that are eligible to be remitted to the general fund because they're unclaimed, and that is greater than $30,000. So that would pay for the first 2 years of this.
Just in the jury duty, that's why I was curious do you have any idea right now how many checks we send out a year in just jury duty?
100 times at least 20 is 2,000.
Okay.
Between
I have
two
a
and
jury
three.
list almost every week.
And that doesn't
Whether it be
count
grand jury or regular.
the voter worker, if we want to expand it, that's even more, right?
I'm sure that Tyler would do that free of charge, included in this amount.
Well, it's part of this package right now.
It is part of
It
it,
is part
so
of
it
the package,
covers,
Yeah, if
once
you
you're in, whether it's one department or not.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah. It's the amount that we're doing here, if we're going over 5,000, then we'll adjust the pricing,
Okay.
but that's correct.
I mean,
So
we
this-
still need
so-
your department to pay for it, but we're gonna all use it.
Yeah, that's fine.
So with the old system, we have unclaimed checks that go unclaimed. And in this system, with gift cards, essentially what this is, most people don't ever expend their gift cards. Is the percentage similar?
Yeah, so here's your percentage. So this, you're looking at about 20 to 25% unclaimed. So the amount, this is based on the 5,000, but the amount is your annual unclaimed dollar amount based on 5,000 payments. This is just first day pay. All right, I didn't do multiple days, just first day pay. Is about 25,000 is what the county should see back each year. The cost of the program, this is without the discount you can see here, which is 15,000. So if you take that minus the unclaimed, your net is still $10,000.
So the unclaimed funds will pay for the,
That's correct.
which we have that anyway.
Which we're already ahead, yes.
Yeah, we're already
In
2
2
years
years.
ahead. Okay.
Yeah, and it'll just keep building.
And this is something, this little packet, something we buy.
That's included with all of this. We provide all of that.
So when the juror walks out that day, whatever day it is, their first day or their fifth day,
Yeah.
they're walking out with this. We have nothing else to mail them.
Correct. That's correct.
But we don't get unclaimed funds back.
Yes.
Sure.
You do on this
Yeah.
one.
So,
For jury fees, we
yeah,
Traditionally.
previously the checks were written to say void after 180 days. The
Okay.
statute says they're considered unclaimed after 90 days. So whenever I came into office, we changed that on the check stock, and now it's 90 days.
Okay.
But just from 2023 and prior, so not anything in 2024 or anything so far in 2025, we have over $30,000 that we're gonna be returning to the general fund. And y'all have already had an item on the agenda where y'all taken action to say that is what we will do, which is in accordance with statute.
Because most of the claimed funds go to the state, never go
Right.
back to the.
Right.
These
So-
are
It's
in
right
assets.
there.
That's all money set in the comptroller's office.
Yeah.
It's not sitting in an account here.
No, this would be money that sits in our.
No, right, currently, it's a comptroller's office. We can
No,
call it back.
It is in the jury
It's,
fund.
it's in the jury fund?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because it was never expended.
Never,
Never claimed.
okay.
Or when we got back.
And
So we haven't remitted it.
But this system should cut pretty much all that out. I would assume,
Well,
or
I
a lot
mean,
of it.
there's still going to be items where they don't, activate the debit card, and so
Yeah.
that's what he's saying is,
Correct.
there's a possibility that there's still gonna be about 20,000 in unclaimed funds each year, because they
There'll
just
be
won't.
folks
do
that
it.
toss it in the console of the car and
Yeah.
it stays there for
Put it in your wallet
2
and
years.
3 years from now.
then, and I'm all for, I paid attention a lot more to what countywide voting and all the mailing, the costs that we have for mailing, so anything we can do to cut out
Okay,
mailing.
I'm really-
Because, I mean, once you figure the time and labor it takes to put all the envelopes together,
Right.
preparing letters to send them, it just costs a lot.
Yep.
That very few of them actually receive what you're mailing me. Well, a high percentage.
A high percent of them do, right. And this is electronic, right? We get a text message that says you've been paid, email message you've been paid, and they can spend it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, from a money standpoint, this is a new cost. But it is a new cost that should theoretically, for 2 years, it's no new cost to the taxpayers because we're using the unclaimed funds to pay for it. And then as the unclaimed comes in, that should help
That's correct.
keep it on going. That's money we would have anyway, even if we didn't go with Tyler. But from the standpoint of convenience for juror and constituents and helping streamline this process on the money side for us, that's the value we're getting.
Mhm.
And I think it's a good value. All right, any other questions before we wrap up the presentation and then talk about the actual item?
I would
Can you
think-
speak on how long implementation will be?
Yeah, absolutely. So implementation, by the time we get approval from the court, we'll get the agreement in place, 120 days-ish, 120, 150 days max, but depends on how quick, and IT is very speedy over here too. Just depends on how quick we can get that done, but 120, 150 days max.
Okay.
Yep.
It kind of makes you wonder where the
expanded application of this concept. There's probably some other places that would clean up. To me, the big deal is the cost of labor.
Right.
And tying your staff up. That's interesting.
If we do move forward with this and we wanted to bring in some of those other options that were there, it's just a phone call and getting it set up.
Yeah, so on the agreement, I'll put those additional options in the agreement, so it's already part of it. You just call us up, say, hey, we want to add the elections, and we'll send you a separate set of cards, because they look a little bit different, but we'll send you a separate set of cards. We'll open up a separate line item account, because we don't want to commingle jury funds with that. So, but yeah, there's a couple steps, but yes, it's not hard to do, yeah.
It's just nice being able to set it up where they can pick up the card, you cut out all that mailing.
Yeah.
When they're there for training, or they're there picking up their equipment, they can.
Grab
We
your card.
generate the card, we build the card.
We do. I mean, we send it to you, correct. We send the card to you, they'll come and pick it up.
That's done all with that.
So like for elections, so let's, on something separate, elections, normally they'll hand these cards out at training. When they train the election workers, they'll have them already set up for them, do that. Then they'll have some on day of that don't do the training.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's inside.
Yeah, this one's disappeared.
It's just paper and plastic.
Gotcha. Interesting. Could we get the color changed on that to green and white?
But, I mean, from the perspective of my office, you have 3 people tied up. You have the person that enters it, and you have 100 jurors at one time. Then you have Margaret or me or Mike that's reviewing it, and then you have us cutting the checks. And then with Steven, you have him verifying it to the list. You have them stamping his signature on his check, and then them putting them in envelopes and mailing them out. So, I mean, this is going to save a tremendous amount of time.
Then we
hopefully
don't
for
have
everyone.
a juror tab every week that we have to go through, technically go through.
It'll still be on the.
Still be on,
Yeah,
it's just
around the
one
list, but-
payment.
Yeah.
One payment, we're
Yeah.
not talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
individual.
Being a cost, but it's one of those things that'll show up on the books as a cost, but at the end of the day, is it really? If you go through the whole process, I'm not sure it is.
This one actually sounds like it will save time
Oh, yeah,
and cost.
Yep.
interesting.
And it's no cost to the taxpayers, technically.
Yeah.
For the first 2
Ish.
years. For the first 2 years.
I think it's all.
Yeah, but no, point taken. Any other questions, comments on presentation? All right. Thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Rosie.
thank you, Court.
Well, hold on.
He hasn't read that, he has to read
We're
that.
on to item number 2. Discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve Tyler Technologies quote in the amount of $14,125 for the Tyler Jury Pay Disbursement Software to be paid from non-departmental 1004090 with lines determined by the county auditor and authorize the county judge to sign the funds amendment.
All second.
And do we need to amend that to include some different lines if needed?
No, that'll be in the agreement. If
Okay.
that needs to be added, it'll be in the agreement
Okay.
language that I'll sign.
She's non-departmental, so it doesn't cost anything.
I know that works. All right.
And to note, I will get with Stephen on moving those outstanding checks from the jury fund to the general fund to have that paid for and over. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham to approve the Tyler Technologies quote in the amount of $14,125 to be paid from non-departmental. Have any questions or comments on the motion for the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Thank you.
And you're welcome to stay for the rest of court, but you're also welcome to not.
But don't take the heat.
Good, that's a good clarification. Thank you. All right. Item number 3, discuss, consider, and/or take action to authorize the county judge to sign a consultant agreement with Health IQ LLC for the creation of an RFP for employee benefits, the employee health insurance program, and related services, and approval of payment of up to $25,000 from Department 409 with lines determined by the county auditor. Let me lay this one out. We all know the importance of the employee benefits and especially employee health insurance to all of our employees. They want largely. They want to know that a catastrophe is not going to break them financially, and they want a system of health insurance that they can navigate and understand, and that ultimately helps take care of their health and helps prevent, hopefully helps prevent health issues in the future. They also, from our perspective, what we pay out in health insurance specifically is the single largest non-salary budget item that's in our budget. It's going to come out this year to probably about a little over $5 million. So we pay out roughly $5 million a year in premiums. I went back and looked back to 2019, and I cannot find a year where our contributions, where the claims paid exceeded our contributions. And in fact, starting in 2022, we've ended up at roughly $1 million more in premiums paid out than in claims that the health insurance was paying on our behalf. And as y'all have known, because I make a issue of it every year for the last two when it's time for our mid-year renewal agreement, our rates have stayed flat on what our premiums are, but they have not gone down, even though we've been a substantial savings for the health insurance pool over that time. I think it's a wise question of us, and we ask it all the time, to ask, are we getting a good deal for anything that we do, but especially for such a large budget item that affects over 500 lives in the county. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know, because we haven't looked, at least in the years since I've been county judge, and I think even for a few years before that, the court has not really looked to see what else is out there. I will say this is not an indictment of the level of service that we are currently getting under our Blue Cross Blue Shield through the Association of Counties pool. I think the level of service we're getting is largely good. I think that for a full service plan, it's a pretty decent value. But I don't know that any one of us can actually say that we know that for certain because we haven't looked. And so I think it's time for us to look. And to do that, because again, we're talking about such a large amount of money, we're going to need to go out for bids. And the idea of trying to put together an RFP for employee benefits and health insurance on our own without getting some outside help, I didn't think seemed the wisest course of action.
You're buying expertise. Basically.
You are buying expertise. And so we all know health insurance is complicated, and we all know that this is something that if we're going to go out and do, we need to do well, and we need to get right because of how many people's lives are affected by it and the amount of money. So I thought it was worth getting expertise of someone who's been doing this a long time, someone who's very good at it, and someone who's able to entertain a wide spectrum of options to help us go through that process. And I think most of the folks on this dais know Kelly Fristow, and I believe that he fits all of those boxes. And so I asked him if he'd be interested in working out a consulting agreement and working with us to help develop the RFP and walk us through that process from beginning to end. And he's put forth the plan. He and I've worked behind the scenes to talk about broadly what that entailed, and he's got a plan. And so with that, Kelly, I'm going to ask you to come forward. Again, this is Kelly Fristow, president of Health IQ?
Yes.
Yeah, president of Health IQ LLC. And I'll turn it over to Kelly to provide kind of an overview of the agreement and give us the chance to ask questions. And we got a few more things I'll follow up with at the end.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Kelly Fristow, and among other business entities, I'm the founder and president of Health IQ LLC. I began Health IQ in September of 2019 as a result of recognizing in my line of work that with each passing day, the average person's intellectual quotient as it relates to healthcare and healthcare financing is at an all-time low, historic low. Healthcare and healthcare financing is complex on purpose, and it shouldn't be. A higher level of knowledge is power. And when you know better, you can do better. In this ever-changing world of healthcare, increasing level of difficult to access care and out-of-control cost is becoming the norm. And a higher knowledge is key to making smarter and more confident decisions in order to take back control of both access to quality care and affordability. Many of you know that I have been very involved in legislative advocacy at both the state and federal levels in an effort to try to help bring solutions to fixing health care. While that influence has allowed for many positive outcomes, other profit-driven, powerful interests have also been involved. The motives of these other industry stakeholders have become evident when we examine our current situation. The healthcare sector operates similarly to any other economic sector, where the primary goal is revenue growth and market share expansion, and thus those entities prioritize increasing revenue and shareholder value over controlling healthcare costs for employers and employees. This misalignment of incentives, largely unknown by both employers and employees, steers the businesses and their teams in a direction detrimental to their best interest. As you sit across the table from the insurance company, the broker, advisor, or other point solution vendors, oftentimes, if your financial goals are not aligned, for example, better health outcomes at a lower cost, then you're going to be working against each other, or at least not towards the same goal. Because their goal on the other side of the table is to increase their revenue share and to increase their market share. Healthcare is truly stealing the American dream. It wasn't always the way it is today. There was a time when the patient came first, a time when someone's care was not overshadowed by bureaucracy, a time when care was simply care. But with that time, in has come the greed, in came the power, in came the darkness that has been suppressing the light of care and affordability. Health is now a business that places profits above all else. Insurance companies, healthcare systems, nor legislators are going to fix any of this. The fixes are going to come from brave employers, along with private and free market solutions that are willing to take a hard look and being willing to do the hard work to bring back the light of care and affordability. As stewards of public funds and protectors of taxpayer dollars, you are no stranger to the frustration of rising healthcare costs that seem to offer diminished returns in employee health and satisfaction. Dave Chase, the founder of Health Rosetta and author of a book, The CEO's Guide to Restoring the American Dream, he refers to this as the greatest heist in American history, where 20% of the economy has been captured by a system that thrives on opacity, perverse incentives, and middlemen pointing their fingers and blaming each other while profiteering from the system's inefficiencies. It's way past time for the county to flip the script. Dave Chase, in another one of his books, The CEOs Who Restored the American Dream, tells the story of a rural county, Ashtabula, Ohio, that turned its health plan inside out, unbundled its services, and partnered directly with high-quality, low-cost providers, often at prices 40 to 60% lower than what their previous plans agreements paid. They didn't just save money, they built a healthcare ecosystem that relocalized, rehumanized healthcare that their employees and those employees' dependents could actually afford, use, and navigate with clarity and dignity. And that's exactly what Wichita County can do. There are others here in this community that are already doing it with much success. My role would be to guide you through a new RFP process that aligns with free market principles, price transparency, provider quality, and voluntary direct contracting. Together, we will build a framework or a blueprint with an emphasis on measurable outcomes, fiduciary responsibility, and human-centered plan design. Instead of writing an RFP that simply shifts costs from one legacy vendor to another, we'll ask better questions so that you know exactly what you're paying for. We'll read the fine print in contracts, which is likely something that has not been done before, so that we can recognize and plug any leaks of revenue extraction by respective vendors, advisors, and especially PBMs, or pharmacy benefit managers. We'll structure the RFP to reward bidders who can prove value, who welcome audits, who put the interest of the plan, not the profit margin, first. With the right RFP strategy, Wichita County can become a model for public sector innovation in this state. Commissioners, this is your moment to lead. We wouldn't ask twice about a CEO hiring a real estate attorney to review a very valuable lease agreement. We wouldn't ask twice if a CEO said that I need a transactional attorney to review an M&A agreement. Similarly, we shouldn't think twice about having somebody that is really well versed in healthcare financing and an expert to assist with this RFP task, as well as review contracts to make sure that they work for the benefit of the employer and employee and their dependents, and not for the carriers, the shareholders, and the PBMs, and everybody else that's on the other side of the table that stands to benefit when you pay more for health care. Let's not settle for another Me Too health plan. Let us be deliberate, data-driven, and principled. Let us build a benefit strategy that aligns with our values of fiscal responsibility, community investment, and human dignity. I'm honored to be considered to assist in this journey as we would consider beginning this project. Thank you for your time, your service, and your consideration. And I'll take any questions that you may have.
I wish I was smart enough to ask a question. I'll tell you what I know about it, and there may be some of you others experience this. It seems like about every month I get a stack of envelopes about that thick, and I have no idea what any of that means. And I would really like to know, what is this costing? And you can read that stuff and your eyes cross. And I may be the only one that have that happen to me, but I don't think there's a month goes by I don't get a pretty good stack of them, and I have no, and there's got to be a better way to do this.
Well,
So I guess the question is there a better way to do this?
yeah, there is. There absolutely is. And, you know, it's, I don't want to be too tough on the actual insurance companies, but before the Affordable Care Act was passed back in 2010 and implemented in 2014, and since then I was here last in this courtroom presenting in 2018. But since that time, when you look at the insurance companies and you compare where they were on the Fortune 500 list of companies back before the Affordable Care Act, there were no insurance companies listed on the Fortune 500 list of companies. Fast forward to today, and we have over 8 insurance entities that are in the top 25 of the Fortune 500 list of companies. And keep in mind that these insurance companies, they don't make anything. They are simply a pass-through organization that takes your money, they hold on to it, and they pay doctors and hospitals and healthcare practitioners. And through that transactional process, they are holding on to so much of those dollars that is what has propelled them that short period of time to not being on the Fortune 500 list of companies to being in the top 25. I'm of the opinion that the insurance companies are really no longer in the risk business. They control contracts at the provider level, and they control contracts on the insurance side for employees and employers.
Complete shift from where we started out.
Absolutely. And when they were able to control both sides of those contracts at the payer level and at the level of providing what appears to be benefits, they can manipulate that game to where they will always make money. This process is going to be jaw-dropping for some of you that would be willing to serve on this committee. We're going to go into a lot of educational components and deconstruct health plans, so that whenever we put together the winning bidder, there will be full transparency. You will know where every dollar is being spent. There's going to be, again, be the plugging of holes where contracts allow language to extract value and dollars out of this plan for their reasons. And we want to put back, well, we're living in a time where we got DOGE going on, Department of Government Efficiency. We've got all these, the tariff thing is all over the news every day. You're being tariffed, if you want to consider that analogy. We need to DOGE healthcare. We need to implement our own tariffs back to the system and take control of this process. and it's gonna require a little higher level of education, which I'm willing to spend an enormous amount of time between now and when those responses would come back, to where we consider what you're gonna do moving forward with health benefits for your employees.
And, you know, and I'm not complaining about my care, and I feel very fortunate to have an insurance plan, but I'd just like to understand it better, and because when you don't understand something, you don't know if there's efficiency there, or that we're doing the best job we possibly can, and it's complicated.
And that's why I created Health IQ, because one of the things that we're doing, I believe it's an important task to educate people on how to go about looking at their healthcare financing options and making better decisions.
I'll say this, if you're like I was 3 or 4 years ago when the idea of somewhat profound change in the insurance model became where I went, okay, something's got to give. Because if you're cutting the cost side for the employer, well, then you've got to be cutting something for the employee, the level of services that you're getting. Only after watching the last 2 or 3 years of different businesses go through this, I realized, no, the system is that messed up that you really can get better care and save costs, and not a small amount of both. And so I think that the margin is there for us to do something that will take better care of our employees and save significant amount of money that we can then either return to taxpayers, or quite frankly, I think we should be very serious about pouring back into employees for recruitment and retention. It really is the opportunity to do both of those things at the same time. But unless we look, we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we've had you here before, and there was no appetite at that time with the Commissioners Court to change from the status quo. I can think of no one better qualified across the country to lead us in this than you. I would like to go ahead and make that motion to approve.
Okay.
Seems like a good investment.
Yeah.
Kelly, tell us about a timeline. What are we're talking about doing RFPs that would get us quotes that we could make a decision for what period of time?
So we begin with the end in mind, right? So if we're looking at trying to have all of those gone through by, did we talk about a date of?
September 1.
September 1. So we're on track if we begin right now. If we wait any longer, it's going to be very rushed. And you don't want to rush this process because, again, when we start going into contracts that are 200 and 300 pages long from vendors, pharmacy benefit managers, direct primary care doctors, direct agreements with local providers, looking at fiduciary responsibility, legislative things that would affect your plan that are constantly changing, we've got to get that started now. So we would hope to have all these responses back sometime in the middle or end of July. So we have a good few weeks to sift through them and then begin making decisions.
And then we would make selections that would help us in 2026.
Yeah, it'd be for starting January 1st, 2026.
Okay.
The reason September 1 is the deadline, Commissioner, is that's our renewal date with TAC for our current plan. Because if we go through this process and we don't get proposals back that we're convinced are better than what we have, we always have that option, and that's why that September 1st deadline is there. I'm confident that we'll get numerous proposals back that we like, but that's why that's the...
Well, the RFP process as well is going to be designed to prevent us from getting stuff that's going to waste our time. That's going to be similar to what you have with TAC. We don't want to get another, just transfer from one legacy type program to another. We always have the fallback position of your TAC program. If we need to have that, let that be your fully insured option. We want to get really creative and strategic, take advantage of opportunities that exist in the way healthcare is changing. Again, going back into direct agreements, providers doing some sort of direct primary care element where we create a much better plan. You are not a test case. There are other large employers in this community that are case studies where this has been working. Hospice of Wichita Falls is one of those in your packet. Did you guys receive a packet?
Digitally.
Able to look through that. Hospice of Wichita Falls is an organization we work with. We found them in a place where they were about $900 per month per employee. One of the community's largest nonprofit organizations. They had a $6,000 deductible with no copay options and no prescription drug benefit copay options. The employees hated that plan. And it was, again, when you think about a nonprofit, every dollar is really important to them. And so they were at a very high pain point level. We took them from a $900 a month premium to a $450 a month premium, from a $6,000 deductible to a $1,200 deductible, with copays, with the ability for those employees to have a physician visit at a $0 cost. Because these high deductibles that we keep moving to, if that's the number one strategy that we keep implementing, an increase comes, we raise deductibles, raise out-of-pockets. Those are barriers to care for a lot of employees, for most of your employees. And dependents. I work independently with a lot of the dependents of your employees, because those employees can't afford to put their dependents on your health plan because it's so expensive. And so now you're splitting families amongst different coverage elements. We're hoping we can bring that back together again, create affordability, create an RFP that will bring out those strategic solutions that are proven that will create better results, rehumanize and relocalize healthcare.
You know, sometimes I think we forget, we look at our health care benefits as an individual benefit that's for us, but it's also about keeping our people in place and doing their job. And sometimes I think we miss that element, what that really costs us when we've got somebody out that's not there because maybe that copay was too high and they should have gone to the doctor, but they didn't. So now this turns into a week-long thing rather than a one-day thing.
And
it's costing us money.
And a trip to the emergency room.
Absolutely.
Which is the highest cost place that you could ever go seek out health care.
Absolutely. And you're liable, if you don't have anything, you're liable to catch it there. Could happen anyway.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, I've got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Kincannon, to authorize the county judge to sign a consultant agreement with Health IQ LLC for the creation of an RFP for employee benefits, the employee health insurance program, and related services, and approved payment of up to $25,000 from Department 409. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? Okay, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Building on that, we have item number 4. Discuss, consider, and/or take action to create an employee benefits committee and to approve the following members: County Judge Jim Johnson, Commissioner Cannon, Tax Assessor Collector Tommy Smythe, County Auditor Matt Davis, First Assistant Auditor Mike Sloan, Benefits Coordinator Sonia Labrie, Randy Sudol, County Clerk's Office, and Sergeant Eric Wish of the Sheriff's Office. So the reason I am asking the court to approve a committee is, as Kelly just talked about, this is going to involve an education process and, quite frankly, the need for getting in the weeds to be able to do some pre-work that, because of the way that we have to work as a commissioner's court, is just unwieldy to try to have a public meeting and posting and notice every single time we have to discuss.
I'll make that motion to approve this committee.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? So we've got a motion by Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Beecham, to create an employee benefits committee and to approve those members as stated. Any question or comments on the motion or the item? Okay, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 5, presentation by Tax Assessor Collector Tommy Smythe regarding interlocal property tax collection agreements and discussion of new agreements. Tax Assessor Collector Smythe. Come forward, please.
It's always nice for that warm introduction. Good morning to Good County government. I'm very happy about what's just taken place in this court. I was kind of beating the drum back in 2018 for Kelly then, and very flattered and honored, and a great committee that's been set up on that.
He says that now. Let's ask again about that.
Yeah. I told you the other day, Judge, though, if we had to set up here on Saturday night with the Coleman Lantern, I'm willing to work on this deal. So, no, this is long overdue, long overdue. Back to business, gentlemen. We haven't done this since 2016 as far as looking at what we, trying to make our services whole. Matt and Mike, the auditor's office, have done all the analytics on this. There's probably no need to beat that math to death today because it's still kind of in the infancy stages. We've had a lot of great, at least 2 or 3 workshops with Commissioner Watts and the judge and Matt and Mike and my chief deputy Nikki on this. The first time this was looked at in 2016, it had not been looked at since 1993. So if you do the math from 93 to this date forward, we have looked at these interlocal agreements 2 times in 32 years. So I'll ask you gentlemen, if you look in your file cabinet, when's the last time any vendor of yours has looked at what they're charging you in 2 times in the last 32 years? We know the answer to that. This is going to be a little bit of a process. We got way ahead of the game. The interlocals that we have in effect now, I think Jeff and the judge are aware of this, that we had to make notification to our entities by no later than May. Nikki and I got together at the end of February by certified mail and took care of most of all of them. Maybe had 1 or 2 that might have fell in place the first of March. So we're way ahead of the game on the notification process. I'll be honest with you, as of this morning, after sending those out, we collect for 8 entities besides ourselves. As of this morning, not a single entity has contacted us in regard to any type of tentative numbers on this, which I think is a good thing. Like I said, we have not looked at this. This was looked at in 2016, and along come COVID and everything else. We lost 3 years of our lives, and here we are almost 10 years later looking at something we probably should have looked at a little sooner. But nevertheless, and to the gentleman's point this morning, postage has went up twice in the last year alone. The single largest budget line I have, other than salaries, is for postage. And so that's a big part of the fact that we put 80,000 statements in the mail 3 times a year and all the envelopes and everything else to go with it. I think this morning Nikki said that we're already, here we are in April, and we've already spent $6,800 in office supplies. So $3,000 of that being envelopes. So it's copy paper. All of our county offices are seeing that countywide. That's not specific to our operations, but it's like I said, it's in the infancy stages. All this is under legal review. We kind of gave a tentative final draft. It probably still needs some more tweaking. We're waiting on some outside collaboration on these numbers and what we can do. So it's still under legal review, but from the standpoint of standing before the committee this morning as a whole and getting everybody up to speed as to what we're doing with these interlocals, that's why we asked the judge to put it on this morning.
Well, it's timely because that's one of the topics that we had in our class last week. It was going through interlocal agreements periodically, making sure we review them, maybe not annually, but often.
Yeah.
So it's been a while, and I'm glad we're doing this.
Any other questions for Tommy?
Oh, I think it's great. Thanks for being proactive, Tom, and jumping in there and getting the ball rolling on this because it's overdue for us.
Well, and I think, to Mark's point, and I think on some other departments, what the judge has been, and y'all are aware of too, I think we took a hard look at some of the things and services that Robin was providing out of her office. You just have to Mark's point, you have to every now and then look back at what you're doing and if you're doing it at a rate that can be that's feasible. But like I said, this is still in the infancy stages. We're way ahead of the game. As this develops, I'm sure we'll still have some more workshops with the judge and Jeff and the rest of our Mike and Matt and Nikki. But like I said, collectively try to get the court involved as a whole as to looking at this. That's what we want to do this morning.
It's called Taking Care of Business.
TCB.
Any other questions?
Good move.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome, guys. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
All right, item number 6 is review and approve the regular bills for payment. Verify payroll taxes have been filed. And order county treasurer to disperse payroll and/or bills within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, or electronically unless directed otherwise, or may be picked up and ledgered in the treasurer's office.
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay. We've got a motion by Commissioner Kincannon, seconded by Commissioner, nope, sorry.
No.
Thank you, yes, a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Mahler to approve, verify, and disperse. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion by Commissioner Beecham and, or the item itself? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. There being 4 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention by Commissioner Kincannon, the motion carries. Item number 7, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve and ratify the minutes of the April 8th, 2025 regular session.
So moved.
Second. You got me.
I got you there.
All right. We've got
You gotta be quick to be the guy that runs every day. I'm telling you.
Got a motion by Commissioner Mahler, seconded by Commissioner Beecham to approve and ratify the minutes of the April 8th session. Do you have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? That motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 8, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve enterprise fleet management quote number 8787450, the amount of $50,759.70 plus $470 in delivery and administration fees for the purchase of the 2025 Chevy Silverado for the Sheriff's Office to be paid from anticipated unspent Senate Bill 2022 monies. Chief, do you want to come up and talk about this?
You're trying. Last year we had the SB 22 money at 125,000 at the end of the year. So we were looking at the numbers already moving into this year with the open positions and what we're averaging on open positions. And I sent some stuff to the judge and to Matt, and we, at the present time, we're looking at maybe $155,000 at the end of the year if we stay along the same line as open positions. Last year we averaged to that year. In 23 we averaged 24 open positions a pay period. In 24 we had 17 open positions per pay period, and in 25 right now we're averaging 19 open positions per pay period. So we went ahead and asked the court to go ahead and order 1 of the vehicles. We ordered 3 vehicles last year, and we were able to buy 3. Is that correct? 3
Yes, sir.
vehicles with the unspent money.
Matt, how will that, from the standpoint of how this is, how will y'all allocate funds on your side if we approve this? Because we haven't, I guess we've gotten the revenue already for
Yes.
SB 2020, so you'll just direct it from that.
Yes. Yeah, and then it's reported at the end of the fiscal year.
Okay. Yeah, and this was originally on for last week, but I asked the chief for some extra numbers, which he provided. Wanted to make sure we weren't getting out over our skis and spending anticipated unspent monies that we ended up needing later. But he sent the math. He just walked through it. It would be a miracle of miracles if the positions were filled to such that we would be short this money at the end of it.
It would be a nice miracle.
It would be a miracle we would be willing to entertain if our problem was we needed to cover this money at the end. So yeah.
What all can that money be used for?
Can be used for jailer pay supplements, or not just jailer. It can be used for anyone at the sheriff's office who, as part of their duties, works in the jail. It can be used for equipment. It can be used for vehicles. It can be used for firearms and ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's a couple of other things I've missed in there, but from the standpoint of what we've spent previously in the SB 22, it's mainly on jailer pay and vehicles. But those are the other things.
And this falls in our rotation of our vehicles that we're.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Got a motion by Commissioner Muller, seconded by Commissioner Watts to approve Enterprise Fleet Management quote 8787450 for $50,759.70 plus $470 to be paid from anticipated unspent Senate Bill 22 monies. Have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? Motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 9, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve Mars Patriot construction proposal request for wall modification and metal framing for the rear driveway at the Wichita County Iowa Park Annex at an additional cost of $14,950 to be paid from previously allocated permanent improvement funds with lines determined by the county auditor. Commissioner Beecham?
It sounds like two items got merged together.
Uh-oh.
This is just for the paving, for the building the new driveway.
Not wall
Yeah, no wall modifications,
and
no.
metal frames.
No, this is just for the
The proposal request for the rear driveway.
driveway. Yeah, we met out last week. Since we moved the door from the front to the back, which was actually a good move to do that, we do need to build a driveway up to it. We met and went over what the specifications would need to be and how it would need to be built. And this is the proposal that was brought back after that meeting.
Will that go all the way through, Mark, to the alley?
It will go to the alley.
Oh.
Yeah, and then we're gonna.
Now, it's just a
That's
partial deal.
Well, we need to
right
get
now.
with the City of Iowa Park, see if we can mutual aid agreement, rock that driveway, rock the alleyway.
Yeah.
And is that that's not a contingency item, it's a separate permanent?
No, it
permit?
would be out of contingency,
Oh, it's
other,
not.
other project.
Okay.
And that's, remind me, the driveway is that's going to be a separate item from the parking lot?
Yeah, it's in the back of the building.
Okay.
It wasn't part of the original plan.
It was not part of the original plan, no, because
And-
we ended up moving, because of buildability, we moved the door to the back, which is actually better to have that roll-up door on the back anyway, because that's where the warehouse is.
Yeah.
So,
And Mark, can that drive, or that alleyway go all the way through from street
it
to
goes all
street?
the way through, yeah.
Yeah.
So this will give them if they're pulling a trailer, backing a trailer in, it'll give them a straight shot up to their door.
Okay.
Even though it does climb a little bit. We try to mitigate that climb with how we laid out the driveway.
Okay.
So motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Pincannon to approve the Mars Patriot construction proposal request for an additional cost of $14,950 to be paid from previously allocated permanent improvement funds. Any questions or comments on the motion or the item? Motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 10, discuss, consider, and/or take action to terminate the county burn ban. So I did ask Dwayne to check in with all of our county volunteer fire chiefs last week. He did so. He's at training today, which is why he can't be here. They said they were he was able to talk to all of them, I believe, and they were all good with terminating the
We've got
ban.
more rain in the forecast this weekend, and we've had several residents call and ask that we terminate it. So-
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Self included. Got lots of brush. Yes, sir, Sheriff.
We did write a few citations for violating the burn ban. My favorite one was on Conway Drive, we could come in a structure fire, and I actually responded to it at about 5:15 type fire. And fire department was going over there and, scene, and although the house looked like it probably needed to be burned down, it wasn't the house, it was a huge pit behind the house, probably about 40 yards long and 30 yards wide, just filled full of tires over decades and decades. And of course, how does this fire happen? Nobody knows how it happened, right? Except the 13-year-old son, as he's walking by there and says, "Hey buddy, what's going on?" He goes, "Oh, the pit's on fire." "Well, how'd it get on fire?" "Well, my daddy and his brother were burning the trash last night in the burn barrel, and they rolled it over there and thought it was out and caught it all on fire." "Well, thank you."
Here's your sign.
I went to go ask Daddy about it, and he ended up during the headlight, looked like, how did he know? And he confessed, so I said, "Well, don't go far, I need your driver's license, because you're gonna get a $500 ticket." He said, "Well, I didn't do it on purpose." "It don't matter, you burned your trash last night, right?" He goes, "Yes, sir." I said, "I'll be happy to want to be testified against you on JP call if you need to." The rest was history. But it took about City of Wichita Falls, and 8 units there, Cameron Gardens, Burkerdale. You know, it's a mess, but we have a lot of those messes in East County that are hidden. But anyway, so the burn ban worked pretty well, mostly for everybody else. We didn't have too many problems with it.
And we'll have a problem later if we don't terminate it now. Give folks the chance.
Yeah.
Years of that. All right, I've got a motion by Commissioner Kincannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham to terminate the county burn ban effective immediately.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do I have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. I'll send out a press release per usual to all our local news media so they can help spread the word. Item number 11, open and take action as necessary on road material and culvert bids.
Which is becoming more or less a hunting license.
You sure?
Thanks, Sheriff.
See y'all.
Thanks, Sheriff.
This is Scott Strange, OS and S.
I'm sorry, it's all right. All right, we've got a bid from OS&S Operating with an origin price of 3/8 washed of $27.88, 5/8 washed $27.67, 1.5 inch crusher run $13.86, 2.5 inch crusher run $13.86, crushed concrete grade 1-2 flex base $14.70. And bid subject to price escalation? Yes.
And are those delivered?
Nope, those are the origin price. I
Okay.
will read the delivered prices if y'all would like.
No, that's okay.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Eurovia Atlantic Coast.
That's a new one.
Freight may be a little tough on that one.
From Justin, Texas. Yeah, so the card is for Sunmount Paving. It's for Eurovia Atlantic Coast / Sunmount Paving. For asphalt, got the origin price of cold lay at $120. It's $156 to every location except Electra, which is $160. And it is not subject to price escalation.
And what was the price for, Judge?
$120 for cold lay.
Okay. Cold. And that's it? Just cold lay?
That's it, just cold lay.
My goodness. And this one is from Ergon.
All right, from Ergon. We've got CHFRS 2P or equivalent 4% polymer, 276 origin, 280 delivered. Fog seal, 246 origin, 250 delivered. Primer oil, 266 at origin, 270 delivered. Pump charge is $150. Demurrage is $100,000 per hour. 2 hours are free. Minimum rate 48,000 pounds. There's a federal environmental fee of $0.00150 per gallon. Bid is not subject to price escalation.
And this one's from P2 Emulsions.
Okay. All right. For P2 stabilizer at the plant, $268. For the county delivery, $296. P2S1, $268, $296. Chip seal, $301 at the plant 329 delivered. Cold weather patch 301, plant 329 delivered. Road overcoat 283 at the plant 310 delivered. P2 rejuvenator 268 at the plant 296 delivered. Prime concentrate $1.97 at the plant 224 delivered. P2 RTU $1.93 at the plant 220 delivered. Minimum deliveries 5,000 gallons. Demurrage first 2 hours free, $80 an hour thereafter. Pump charge is $80. Push charge is $80 per hour. There is a freight differential of 25 cents per gallon if it's less than 5,000 gallons. They also have the primer, the $1.97 at the origin, and then $2.24 delivered, and it is subject to price escalation.
I was just thinking, I had to go back and look. I think since I've been on this court, we bought 3/8 washed, I believe for less than $10. Pretty sure. I'd have to go back and look for sure.
Wow.
And now it's
This one's
$27.88.
Delisi.
That
It
tells
was- how
us
much
where
was
we
that last
are. I
one?
took her.
What was the last one Barry's commenting on?
Well, that was just 3/8 that early bid.
The 3/8 was $27.88.
Okay.
Oh, are you talking about what he was talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
Just
Delisi, 3/8 unwashed, 26.05. This is all origin pricing. 5/8 inch unwashed, 25.85. 1.5 inch crusher, 12.60. 2.5 inch crusher, 12.60. Riprap, 34.25. And no bids on anything else. The bid is subject to price escalation.
And Judge, what does the asterisk mean beside the unwashed?
As available.
That's
As available, okay.
That's the problem.
They'll let you have one truck in there?
If that. Well, you have to call them before you go.
And the last one is for Landtex Properties for culverts.
All right. As Commissioner Watt said, Lentex Properties. They've got, so the way they've done this, they've got galvanized steel culverts, $1 per linear foot in the diameters, and they've got 18 GA, no bid on any of the sizes, 16 GA, 12 foot diameter, 12 inch, sorry, yeah.
So that's a bit.
That is a
big-
large
Big culvert. I like the price on it though.
Yeah, no kidding. $20.77, 15 inch, 25.82, 18 inch, 30.94, 21 inch, 36.06, 24 inch, 41.22, 30 inch, 51.64, 36 inch, 62.48, 42 inch, 72.23, 48 inch, 99.23, 54 inch, 111.61, and then at 14 GA, 12 inch, 24.99, 15 inch, 31.23, 18 inch, 37.42, 21 inch, 43.67, 24 inch, 49.50, 30 inch, 62.12, 36 inch, 74.38, 42 inch, 86.86, 48 inch, 118.45, 54 inch, 134.10. And then for galvanized steel, $1 per each, 12 inch, $150.14, 15 inch, 208.88, 18 inch, 272.49, 24 inch, 382.50, 30 inch, 597.29, 36 inch, 812.82, 42 inch, 1105.13. All of those prices are for pickup at their location.
In where?
Jacksboro Highway, 7001 Jacksboro Highway.
Is that the group you had been told about?
No, I was gonna ask.
No.
You didn't get bid from them?
Apparently not. I did talk to them, that was Wilson Culverts out of Elkhart, is who you gave me. I did talk to them and they had I emailed them the bid sheets. So I guess they didn't.
And they were very active wanting to bid on it when I spoke to them, so that's odd.
That's weird.
But
okay.
there's also
a problem with the US Postal Service from time to time. Who knows?
And who was the delivery that was late?
Big City.
Okay.
Is land tax, is that part of Bowles?
It's Bowles. That's, just looked it up.
That's what I was thinking then, because we didn't get a bid from Context either.
What's the other one,
ADA.
ADA?
All the bids we got, we opened. For land tax, there is a delivery charge of $75. It's a base, and then they go above that for location and order quantity.
So we didn't get bids at all for plastic. No. So if we wish to buy plastic, how does that affect us? I guess if we're under our dollar amount, then we can buy what we can buy, but other than that, we don't.
Yeah.
But it's aggregate.
And I don't quite
across.
understand why it's an aggregate of all the
Well, and then-
precincts.
Is there any legislation to change that dollar amount?
On the aggregate, yeah. There's one to raise it to 100. There's one to raise it to 75.
But I don't know that we get there. We don't do 50 collectively of plastic culverts.
We don't. I don't think
We
do
shouldn't,
either.
but-
I don't think we do 50 collectively on any of them. If you look at all of our spending per year, you think we did last year because I spent 50 on just.
Usually we don't.
Yeah.
But it's hard for us to know.
Right.
I don't know what Jeff's bought.
Yeah. Well, and something like that where we don't get any bids, I would tell you if you need plastic culverts, go out and get them, and let's just watch to see when we start to get close to that dollar amount, and then.
Because I really don't use any gallon.
We try to keep an inventory in the yard, and we try to order when we've got a load worthy of delivering instead of
That would
individual.
get free delivery.
Oh, and land tax was subject to price escalation.
Motion to take under advisement.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Buchanan to take the bids under advisement and bring back up at a later time. We have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 12, receive update on courthouse renovations and county courthouse annexes. Commissioner?
Not a lot to report. Hadn't been able to make it out to Owl Park yet this week. When I was out there last week, everything was looking good, moving forward. We did have to, glad we went through with decision on the driveway. That's one of the things that's holding us up a little bit, so. Moving along. Still a few punch list items remain here. So, not much to report.
Okay. Any questions, comments on the item? All right. It is 11:34 a.m. At this time, we will be moving into closed session for discussions regarding the installation of external and internal security devices at the Iowa Park Annex. This meeting is closed pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.089, deliberations about security devices. If you have not been authorized to remain in the room for this discussion, please vacate. 5 p.m. We are back in open session. For item 1, discuss, consider, and or take action on the installation of external and internal security devices at the Iowa Park Annex and approve Digi Security Systems quote of $89,928 to be paid from general fund contingencies.
Judge, I'll make that motion not to exceed the proposed cost, and after review that if Mark and Brendan may have alternative thoughts.
I'll second that motion if we change the funding to come from the JP courthouse security funds, or JP courtroom security funds.
Right, I'll agree.
And any deficit to be covered from general fund.
Yep.
There you go.
All right, so I've got a motion from Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Beecham, to approve the Digi Security Systems quote and not to exceed $89,928 to be paid from the Justice Court Building Security Fund, with any deficit to be paid from general fund contingencies. Is that good for you? Okay. Any questions or comments on the motion or the item? Okay, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. With that, it is 12:07 and court is adjourned.